fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Man, Denver, we got some breaking news happening here in the Denver area. This is the Snake Sports Talk Show, wherever and however you may be watching and listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. We got a fun show here for you. Free agency shakeups, World Baseball Classic final, United States versus Venezuela. We are all on it here tonight. Plus, former MLB first baseman and outfielder Andrew Lambo joins the show, and also NFL linebacker Nate Wieland is also going to be joining us, talking Patriots, free agency. So much happening, but we're going to get into the thick of it because this was just a move that happened here today, and it really is shaping the way the AFC, I would anticipate, is going to look like. So just earlier today, the Denver Broncos, Bronco fans, get geared up because it's time to ride mile high. Jaylen Waddle now is a member of the Denver Broncos after just hearing reports they had traded him, and they have only given up a first round, a third round, and a fourth round pick swap. This is big news for Denver because what Denver did last year, and they're doing it again, only this time they're focusing on the offensive side of the ball. And so Jaylen Waddle with a Bo Nix, I would anticipate, I don't think Evan Ingram comes back up onto this roster, but you got Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, and Pat Bryant on this roster. And what the Broncos are telling you is that they've got their first round quality wide receiver. They're not going to get a receiver in this draft. They've got plenty of them, and they're doubling down what they took advantage of from last year, winning the AFC West. So that's putting a lot of people on notice, not only just in their division with the Chiefs and the Chargers and maybe potentially the Raiders, depending on what things look like down the road. But what this does now is the AFC, with the Bills who just got DJ Moore, the Patriots who just went to a Super Bowl, and multiple other AFC teams, including Jacksonville and maybe the Colts and the Titans and many other teams that want to be competitive in this conference. So to me, what Sean Payton and what he was hired to do was to shape up the culture, which was once broken after Peyton Manning had retired, got their quarterback. They doubled down on defense. They also worked a lot with their offensive weapons. Cortland Sutton, yes, he's a productive wide receiver. And they doubled down and got him at least a really good co-host of this offense with now Jaylen Waddle. So to me, I think what they're doing is they've got 2 years to take advantage of this thing, because Bo Nix's rookie contract, you know he's going to be asking for a price. That's the part where many teams in the NFL are taking advantage of. Just go look at the New England Patriots last year. Drake May in his rookie season was kind of getting his feet wet. And then when you bring in a Mike Vrabel, and then you bring in Josh McDaniels, you bring in all the familiar pieces here. Now look at how that offense worked. I don't care if it was an easy, schedule in people's eyes. They still managed to make it because that's the NFL, standing for not for long for some teams And usually for teams that take advantage of those opportunities, they're going to get far. So I think with Denver, they really are the high favorites to win the division. I think they also now, the odds should be updating right now for where Denver's put in Super Bowl odds, because they should be considered there in the top 5 spots this year, because the Rams are putting all their chips in. Denver just made a trade. Buffalo made a trade. So all these top tier quality teams, they've all been making big time moves. And many people are questioning other teams that apparently haven't made at least quite the moves, but they may be addressing them later on in the draft. That's what we're going to be awaiting to see. But good for Denver, good for Sean Payton, good for Bo Nix, and of course, good for newly Denver Bronco, Jaylen Waddle. And what does this mean now for Miami? So this is clearly a rebuild mode for the Dolphins. And the only person that they're going to surround themselves with is Devon Achane. Because to me, as I've talked about before, Jeff Hafley coming out of Green Bay, cold, physical, in the trenches, that's the mentality they're bringing to the table. So adding in someone like Malik Willis, who you've got a really good run game, you now gain him confidence being behind center. And so to me, I think with how the Dolphins are going to work this, they got a lot of assets. They got the 11th pick, the 30th pick, and they've also got a 3rd rounder on top of the 4th round pick swap that they just ended up getting here earlier. And the Dolphins, they're bringing in a new philosophy here. And listen, every team that has gone through this before with new coaching staffs, new GMs, going in different directions, you got to think about it. These teams that usually break down and eventually build their way back up, the Dolphins are pretty much telling you, we can't compete up with the Bills. We have now missed our chances with New England and with the Jets potentially getting a little better. But to me, I think the Dolphins are making it quite clear. We may end up winning 6, possibly 7 games. I think it's realistic because you're trying to figure out the quarterback spot. You're also trying to figure out wide receiver help, because do they go after a Carnell Tate or a Jordan Tyson? That's what this looks like to me. You got to have a big play receiver. And not to mention, you got to have tight ends. You got to have guys that are going to be willing to block and be secondary receivers when you know Malik Willis is not capable of getting the ball downfield if there's coverages. So that's the one thing that Miami's telling you, and they're trying to figure out this defense. Jalen Phillips, Minka Fitzpatrick, several other defensive players that came up out of Miami, now gone. It's a completely different look now. So they're trying to figure that out. But Jeff Hafley, I like him as a coach. I think he's going to do very well here and in Miami. But we got to be honest here. Teams that do break down often tell you this is going to be a plan. All right. It's probably a 3 to 5 year plan. And that's where it determines if this is going to be a healthy rebuild or you may not have got the right guy. That's what it's telling you. So the Dolphins, they're getting a lot of their assets. They're restarting. They're rebuilding. And even with Devon Achane, let's just think about it this way. They're going to want more value for their running back than they are of just the teams that they knew that they struck iron hot, especially with this Jaylen Waddle trade. They got a 1st round, a 3rd round, and a 4th round pick swap. That's what they got. That's great value on top of a 1st round pick they're already getting this year. So 2 first rounds can really change. And remember, Miami at one point had 3 first round picks. And you remember how that ended up. So it's not like they can't do this again. So many teams that often have tried last time may not have worked. Try again, hoping that this is the one that hits for the next 3 to 5 years. So good for Miami. They get themselves, really good valued picks, new coaching staff and new regime. I'm all for it. I think right now the AFC East with those 3 teams, the Jets, who knows what they're going to look like. I like their players. I like the potential. But when I had Ray Mickens on here, a former New York Jet and closest friend and teammate to Aaron Glenn, said you are seeing exactly him working his side of the ball, defense. He wants to stop every offensive playing team to shorten them less than 25 points a game and really work the trenches with Breece Hall and company. So that's their game plan. And I can see it really flourish. But again, last year, they got themselves now the top pick. Who knows what that looks like? Could it be quarterback? Could it be something else? So the Jets, they got a lot to think about. All right, good stuff. Nate Wieland around the corner here. We're going to be talking AFC East, and especially after what we just seen with the Jaylen Waddle trade, there's a lot of things to think about up from here, but this free agency has been outstanding, so cannot wait. Love to get his thoughts up and onto this one here in just a moment. All righty, folks. 2026 in a big way. Fantastic to start with. The Olympics now coming to a close tonight. U.S. Venezuela squaring off. And then also the World Cup and in June. You got NFL free agency in the draft. You've got NBA action. There's so much going on in sports, and even Major League Baseball's up-and-coming season. And the only way to get you up and ahead of the curve, check out Payday Fantasy, your go-to player pick'em app. Download it on your mobile device through Google Play in the App Store. Sign yourself up on your computer or your laptop. Also, few deals with 2026. When you sign up, free $5 entry. That's enough for a $5 biggie bag over at your local Wendy's. $5 getting you in just by choosing us. And then also 100% deposit matchup of up to $100 just by using this special promo code. Are you feeling lucky today on a St. Patrick's Day? Check out the code and use it here for yourself. It's promo code SNAKE. That's promo code SNAKE for 100% deposit matchup of up to $100. All you got to do is sign up, get the rewards, pick the player, pick the outcome, and sit back, relax, and win big and get paid with Payday Fantasy.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Well, he's played in this very division that has now had some shakeups here in the last couple of days, whether getting better or maybe potentially a cautionary tale for some teams. Former NFL linebacker, originally with the New England Patriots, Nate Wieland joins us on the program. Well, Nate, your former team, after going into the Super Bowl, now the Miami Dolphins have played their hands and said, look, Buffalo just got DJ Moore. The Broncos now are getting Jaylen Waddle, and the Patriots just went to the Super Bowl last year. And then the Jets, they're bringing back Geno Smith. So they've showed their cards that this is clearly a rebuild and said, we may not look good for the next couple years, but that doesn't mean we can't build within the trenches. Any thoughts behind this trade? Because I think Denver is in a win-now situation. They've got their weapon next to Cortland Sutton. And with having Bo Nix as your quarterback and you're not paying him anything right now, Denver and all their fans got to be feeling mile high right now. And Miami, they got a very good overhaul on this. What'd you think of this move?
Yeah, no, it's a great move, honestly, I think, for both teams. I think Denver's in a spot where they can win now. They showed it last year. If that doesn't happen to Bo Nix, if that ankle injury doesn't happen to Bo Nix, who knows what happens? Being a Patriot, I've got my say in it, but he's an unbelievable player. Him and Sean Payton, that duo. Now you bring Davis Webb into it, calling plays. He's going to be great. I mean, I think Bronco fans should be very excited for that. And then, I mean, it was time for Miami to rebuild. I think, it was a great move by them to kind of clear house in a way. And I think, with where the AFC's at, especially the AFC East, I mean, I think they need to do that with New England making the Super Bowl. The Bills, they've got Josh Allen. They're going to compete for Super Bowls as long as they've got Josh Allen.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think it's a win-win for both sides. I really think both sides got what they wanted. Denver can absolutely win it now, and I think they proved it last year. They're still adding pieces. They're still going out there and trying to get, where I didn't even think they were necessarily weak at. They just got Jaylen Waddle. So to add that to the repertoire with Bo Nix, I think it becomes a very scary team in the AFC. And I mean, they're relatively young too. I mean, Bo Nix he's young and he's a leader of that team. And that's really what you want to see out of a young quarterback, somebody who can lead, somebody who can win. And he just kind of has that about him. He can go out there and, I mean, he's proven time and time again that he can win, whether, some people I know thought that drafted him a little too high. I think he's proven his worth in this league, and he's going to get a big contract out of it, and he's earned every penny of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the blueprint for a lot of teams is if you've got your future franchise quarterback and you hit on him on that draft pick, then you've got plenty of time now. It's almost like you're kind of getting rid of that pressurizing air in a balloon, and now it's a breath of fresh air. You can go get weapons. You can go fix up your offensive line, go and stack up a defense, because eventually these quarterback contracts are going to continue to go up each and every year. So they're taking advantage of this. I mean, Chicago, New England with Drake May. I mean, there's many, many opportunities and possibilities that can happen for these teams. So when I look at the free agent market, what's crazy about it is, and this kind of relates into your field a little bit, because I think of it this way, is I think of just looking at the inflation and then the recession in some areas, because some of the values on, everything, oil and gas, housing markets, we all know it fluctuates. And ultimately it comes down to what's our interest rate percentages. I am looking at the value of these contracts, Nate, and it is insane. I mean, Tyler Linderbaum literally broke the internet with the massive contract for centers, which tells you after Creed Humphrey, now we've got a guy $27 million a year. What's that going to mean now for the interior guards? So, you look at this every year, it always seems to fluctuate. Guys, that you could see positions constantly getting values going up, but it can be a cautionary tale for some teams that if you pay much more than what they were based up on the value because of either, their health statuses, their stats and their performances from a couple years ago, like they got history. And it's almost like you kind of look at getting a house, right? They run your credit. They run exactly, are you a first-time home buyer? What did you make of this free agency? And we're in week 2, and I'm just like sitting there going, my goodness, how much the value and the financial caps have really changed over the years very vastly in this league.
I mean, yeah, I feel like every year you kind of see somebody sets a new record in one position or another. But I mean, yeah, they run your track record. Obviously, your best ability is your availability in the NFL. Like, you got to stay healthy first and foremost. So that plays a huge role into it. What did the last, few seasons look like to earn this next contract? What position is the biggest need for this team? How, and really league wide, where do they feel like league wide it's hardest to hit at this position right now? They're going to treat that with the most value because it's that position. Some years, a left tackle is harder to get than others. Some years, quarterback will always be the top spot, but some years, I mean, I wish linebackers got paid more. I wish they were valued more. But yeah, I think you're going to see every year records being set in the, with these contracts. Tyler Linderbaum's contract is nuts. But that's another guy. He's young, stays healthy, the best at his position. Like the Raiders, that's a great hit for them. They needed it bad, and they hit it on the head. So yeah, I mean, he deserves it. And then, I mean, you got Kenneth Walker, you got, I mean, just a lot of young guys that proved that they were what their worth was in their first, 3, 4 years, and got paid for it. Now they're sitting in a really good spot to build around those guys, because those are the guys that you want to ultimately build around. Whoever you're paying the most, you got to build your team around them, because it's a valuable position. And the team, I mean, you can't waste that contract. You went all in on these players. Now you got to build around them. What's your next weakness? All right, let's go pay. We got to fill that void. We got to hit probably the top market with this, and then salary cap's going up. So yeah, I mean, every year, like you said, I mean, it fluctuates what position really gets paid and what the contracts look like, but it really is what team needs what position, and what's the volatility of that position. How long do they stay healthy? How many in the league can truly play at this level with it? So I mean, yeah, the more you see that, I just think the contracts, gosh, they're gonna keep getting bigger and bigger. And it's awesome to see. I mean, it's such a brutal game on your body. It's awesome to see that. I mean, like you said earlier, NFL stands for not for long. So go get paid while you can.
And it's great for the consumer market, because you think about, television revenue every time when we watch the schedule releases and then watch all these primetime games, and we're seeing a lot of these stars. That's the one thing that I think just makes it unbelievable for the NFL itself. Speaking of the Raiders, because they have really turned around a lot of things. And look, this is the first time, and I would say probably in over 25 years, really since I was a little youth, when I see this team now really looking like they're going in a positive direction. But I did think this Max Crosby trade fallout was really interesting, because you got to think 2 first-round picks. You're also dealing with that contract. Now, Baltimore backed out, and all the details of it were said on social media, but they then go with a backup plan with Trey Hendrickson. So the Raiders got a lot to think about this, because this is a hefty contract they're dealing with after they just purchased so many linebackers and edge rushers to really fix up their defense. I'm now thinking, does quarterback become the selection as the number 1 overall pick? Because I still think there are some fixes in the offensive line. And I'm looking at, if I'm trying to pitch this to Vegas in my hometown, I'm like, look, these teams, especially in our division, they win within the trenches. We got to be able to protect our guys, but we also have to have a really good defensive chemistry to start getting the stops, force the 3 and outs. And we feel our quarterback could be next year, like I'm thinking Dante Moore or someone of that caliber. Does it look like it could be quarterback, or do you think they might be elsewhere, offensive line, somewhere in that category?
You have Ashton Genty at running back. Go run the ball. You can, I imagine they're going Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall, if they go quarterback. I don't know what good he does if he can't sit in the pocket and dissect. He's not a runner. He's not gonna, he can extend plays. In college, it's a whole new speed. I'd be curious to see, how that translates to the NFL, because he is a great player. I think, bar none, he was the best player in college football this year. So it is interesting. I don't know that's necessarily the route I would go. I think I would go offensive line. You have a great running back. You can hit next year in the draft. I don't think this year's quarterback class is, you've got Mendoza number 1, but I don't know that this year's quarterback class is the ones that we've seen in the past. So I think this is one you can wait a year. You just brought in a new head coach, offensive minded. Let's establish the run game. You're going to have a great defense behind you. Let's, if you can just hold on to the ball and give your defense rest, that goes so far. I don't know what the Raiders averaged in points this year, but I feel like every time I turned on the game, it was the other team had the ball, or, they're 3 and out and defense is back on the field. It's so hard to win like that. Like, you're forcing your defense to do so much. They got to create so many turnovers, and they're just kicking field goals at the end of drives if they do score. So
they're getting tired out pretty quick.
Right. And you got to build confidence in Ashton Genty. He had a couple games where he showed who he is, and you have to be able to build around that. Like that was your first round draft pick last year. Build some confidence in it. I don't know if getting a rookie quarterback is the best way to go about that. There could be some miscommunication in the backfield that kind of stalls a year, and all of a sudden he's in his third year and hasn't, doesn't have much to show for it. So I would be, I mean, he is a great player, but I would be shocked if they went quarterback. I guess shocked is probably the wrong word, but offensive line is more of a need right now.
Yeah.
You could probably just get quarterback in free agency and go from there. See who's maybe even you like somebody second or third round that can kind of suffice for the year, and you're going to bring in your guy next year. But
Yeah.
I think with where the Raiders are at, and you just brought in Tyler Linderbaum, let's build an offensive line completely around him. Let's get this thing up front. Let's be able to run the ball. Like, let's just get after teams, wear the teams down, hold the ball for a long time. Let's win the time of possession game. And, you sneak out a lot of wins doing that. You don't turn the ball over and you win the time of possession. You can end up in the NFL sneaking out a lot of games. So it'll be, I'll be very curious to see what they do with this pick.
Very true. Final question here for you. So you played in this organization, and man, what a complete 360 turnaround this organization has had over the last couple of years since Tom left the building. Bill Belichick decided to experiment in college. And, to me, I have respect in some aspects for Robert Kraft because the fact of, one, he understands with the financials, also understands that if you have the right people in this building, the possibilities now become endless. We watched Tom take pay cuts after pay cuts every single year. And then, you go from a Gerard Mayo, who I respect as a player, in his playing days, but you go from that coaching staff to now a Mike Vrabel, and you go into a Super Bowl. And there's confidence now in the building. Drake May ultimately looks like your franchise quarterback, and you're trying to take advantage of it with a Kayshon Boutte and a Demario Douglas and even a Kyle Williams. What you're seeing right now, because Buffalo, of course, is the top contender in the division, but then you're also looking at the whole plethora of the AFC. This has to be like this really good future build, and I think New England's sending a message to everyone. You can't put us out for very long. We got the right coach. We know the philosophy, and it's okay to bring back, some old school stuff like a Josh McDaniels. Like, what was your kind of thought in this season and where the Patriots now in this build are going to be going the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, what a home run hire. Like, I was pumped. I mean, Gerard Mayo, love him. Like, he was my linebacker coach, defensive coordinator when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Great person, and I have nothing but respect for him and great things to say about him. And, it was just unfortunate kind of the way that season turned out and everything, because he is a great coach. I mean, he knows football, like X's and O's is bar none what he knows. So nothing but respect for him. But yeah, what a home run hire by Robert Kraft and the whole organization. Bringing him in. I mean, you're just bringing in a winner. Like Mike Vrabel is just a winner. Everywhere he goes, he wins.
Yes.
So when you see, something like that, and he did it as a player too. So it's just cool to see how quick that turnaround happened, because I mean, it shows you can rebuild in a year. You bring in the right people into your organization, people that just do it the right way, and you get a player's coach, someone who truly would do anything for his players. These are the results you get. Like Stephon Diggs was a great one. Got Robert Spillane to help the defense, and they got some other really great guys in free agency. But nothing this season doesn't happen without Mike Vrabel and bringing back Josh McDaniels. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just what he brings to an organization. Like, and there is a lot of comparisons to Bill Belichick, but that's who he played for. It's how he, went about his way in the NFL. And you see, I know, Belichick gets his, he's has his fair share in the media lately, and people have kind of changed the tide on him. But I mean, there's a lot of resemblance to how Mike Vrabel coaches to how Bill Belichick coached. And So I think it's gonna be nothing but, just a player-led team who a coach would do anything, to bring in the best guys. He's gonna get the best out of his players every single week and every single day of practice. That's who he is. Like when I saw the video in the offseason, it was the first joint practice and he dove in on the pile of the fight and he had a bloody lip. And I was like, that's when you knew. That's when you knew New England might just be back in the Super Bowl this year. Like there's just so many of those small tail things, those signs that Mike Vrabel's a winner. And it was just a home run hire. I was so pumped when he got hired. That was the best case scenario for not only him and his coaching career, but also New England. Like the fans got behind it, everybody got behind it, and it was cool to see it kind of revitalize this year and make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, New England, I mean, they got a great future ahead of them. I would make the argument that, yes, the 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady were very crucial, but you had a great combo between it because Bill couldn't be Bill without Tom, and Tom couldn't even be Tom without Bill. But now, I've got a highly athletic, talented quarterback, Drake May, who's probably the most highly talented quarterback that they've had, because Tom came in as the game manager before evolving and got better at his craft. And the funny thing is the positivity about Mike Vrabel over Bill Belichick, he's relatable to players. He can understand that, as a former player and you're diving into, pylons and now you're tackling these guys. Like that's got to be a fun atmosphere. And so I'm excited for this team. I think the division really makes it even better when there are 2 or 3 more teams competing in it. If you got all 4, like the AFC West, right, boy, it's a whole it's a fist fight to win the division. So, Nate, appreciate you for coming on by, man. Thanks for taking the time here. We appreciate you, and we hope to see you soon, and we'll see what other moves that Mike Vrabel has in his back pocket this free agency.
Awesome, Jake. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. All right. Yeah, what a great interview there. Lots of fun, lots of hype. But we are turning the tables now to Major League Baseball. World Baseball Classic Final. United States and Venezuela. To join us talking more about that and the Pirates and the A's, Andrew Lambo joins us here on the program. All right. 3rd straight year. United States in the final. And, to me, this U.S. team really has overcome a lot of challenges, but I think this should be interesting watching Venezuela because even themselves, they took out Japan. They come out and they take out a scrappy Italian team. So I expect tonight really to be something pretty crucial as far as competition, spurts in the game where if I got a strong pitching staff 5-6 innings deep with my starter, going in and tapping into the bullpen, but I'm hoping that Bobby Witt Jr. start us off in a big way. Then follow it along with our 6 hitters. I think this is going to be a fantastic showing of a World Baseball Classic.
Jake, thank you so much for bringing me on the show here. It's just what an amazing event of baseball we've seen. We've been very privileged, honor to watch the best of the best really compete. Show what they're about. It goes beyond money, what you're seeing right now. And that also includes Team USA. I mean, I played baseball, winter ball, and I got to see firsthand that passion, right? As an American, you confuse it through another emotion, but when you really see and go and play with them outside of America, you understand it's the love that they have for the game. It's going to be exciting. I'm literally edge of the seat. Can't wait. Can't miss it. I don't know who is going to miss this game. Look, you need big players to show up. I think it's also a preview of what you see as far as who the players who step up here. You see these guys naturally do it in the season time, in the playoffs. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, Witt Jr., he's special. He's showing that. And you could see where it's like, man, this guy knows how to lead. Funny fact about him, I believe, I don't know if this is accurate, he led his high school team all-state, pitcher and a hitter. We forget about that. So he grabbed the ball and said, let's do it. It's not even my main thing. I like that. Those are real leader qualities. I was a two-way guy. I think that's the pure form. You're a competitor. You want the ball. He was one of those guys. I'm excited. Yeah, it's interesting to see. It's going to be exciting.
And, what's funny about Bobby Witt Jr. is, you think of his dad and the amount of playing days that he's had, in Major League Baseball. So to have that trait and quality and yet blazing your own trail in that, I mean, man, what a journey road it is for him, but I'm excited to see him. So in the previous matchup, I actually had on the program the other day, I had Carter Capps on, and what I described with him, we had a lot of swings and whiffs in the last game against Dominican Republic. Listen, that was quite a titan of a lineup on DR's side because you had to find a way to silence them. Quality pitching from Paul Skeens. You tap into the bullpen all from 6 through 9. But the only thing is that the offense went completely quiet. And now same thing for DR. They were outrunning these guys for 10-plus runs. And the only question mark was, what was the pitching staff going to look like? I thought it was pretty damn good. But people were outraged, obviously, by the strike 3 call on Geraldo Perdomo. But to me, they whiffed on an opportunity of what was Fernando Tatis doing on the baselines? He could have had an opportunity to, take advantage of that. What was kind of the case in where going into the final, U.S. has to take from what they learned in that last game and really change it to where our offense is clicking, even if we got a 4-5 run lead here against the Venezuela team?
It's going to come down to you really are seeing the guys, how they progress. Unfortunately, this is the beginning of spring training. So it's just so tough because I want to assess all of these hitters tonight. But the reality is like Pasquantino is a perfect example. I don't even know if I said his name right. Sorry, man. Ofer, and then all of a sudden 3 homer. It's just, this is the fun. This is the fun of this game, right? Yeah. It's just, you kind of don't know, right. It's like, it's really, this is, I hope, everybody in the lineup, I will say, there's both sides of pressure. Don't kid yourself. Venezuela's got a ton of home base there. They got a huge fan base that's going to show up. There's obviously pressure to perform. We got tons of pressure. I think America needs to just kind of contain the fans, contain the noise, focus on just getting out early. But I'll be honest with you, I anybody that's predicting things right now, I want to hear it because it's like, man, it's early. You don't know, which is great because like Harper could go nuts. Yeah. We don't know. Anybody can go nuts tonight. Terrain could lead us tonight. It's going to be one of those things where keep everybody loose, especially Venezuela's side too. Here's what I would say. Keep an eye out. Gosh, this is embarrassing. The right fielder here, I forget, Abreu.
Oh yeah.
God, yep, I'm really
Abreu. Yep.
I really want to see him out of the mix tonight. I don't want to see him hurt us. I want to see other people try to hurt us. Let Luis Ariz get his singles. But I think Abreu has been one of their bigger bats to come up as far as with runners on wise. So, he's someone you want to definitely keep an eye on as far as like, let other people beat us tonight.
I'll tell you what, between him and then Ronald Acuna and Maikel Garcia, like those are the 3 guys you really have to contain up from there because Luis Ariz could either poke it or he can have it leave the yard, but at least you can find ways to pitch around that. A funny question here for you before we move on. Listen, I love my Canadian friends who are watching and listening to this show, but this has not been a great year to start with for Team Canada. I mean, the men's, women's hockey team, they lose in overtime, but it was a great classic. And then all of a sudden the World Baseball Classic, and United States. They came out on top. Wouldn't the cherry on top that would have really pissed them off is if we go into the FIFA World Cup in June and then all of a sudden we meet again and it's like, do they just throw their hands up and go, we can't do this every time?
I don't know if you've ever had a Canadian buddy, but they're absolutely nothing short of amazing. I had a couple, Kyle Orr, Chris LaRue. They were just out of the world, amazing individuals. Yeah, Canada has been taken. The good news is Canadians could always be optimistic because they are so close to us. So that's really the truth is, they wake up every day knowing how happy they are being north of us. So that's kind of like the only good thing for them so far in 2026. My Canadian brothers, I feel for you up there. I know you guys are going to get a victory. Maybe, some cool winter sport. I'm sure they're going to get first place in. Got to give them their props. But yeah, no, Canada's getting a rough patch right now. I wish them the best here. I mean, they're big Canadian. Friedman, he wasn't there. Freddie usually plays for them, which is great. He's awesome for that. And so he obviously was missed, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Josh and Bo Naylor, I mean, that's a really good pair right there that Canada, they were able to compete with. I'd say they were pretty scrappy along the lines with Italy. But I'll tell you what, though, if you're Kansas City, you got to love watching Vinny Pasquantino and Jack Caglione both looking like they're going to have breakout years this up-and-coming season. So you're going to love this. So I actually had Michael McKinry up and on here. We were talking Pittsburgh, and we know right now Connor Griffin, people are very excited for his build. But I also make the argument here that Pittsburgh, like what Michael mentioned, is this place used to have attitude, where it was guys that they took advantage of opportunities. The pitching staffs were very aggressive. And at the same time, you look at now you got Marcell Ozuna, and I'll get to the salary cap thing here in a second because it kind of singles them and the A's. But to me, I feel like Pittsburgh's trying to prove like we are trying to build up in our farm system. If Connor Griffin's a big hit, which I anticipate he will be, then maybe this is a step in the right direction for Pittsburgh, but they really have to show for it for themselves with O'Neal Cruz and, even their pitching staff. What do you make and preview this season for the Pirates?
Well, let's look at hey, great moves this offseason, right? Got a big lefty bat, I think. And then I thought another great lefty bat as far as an on-base percentage. So I think those two were really wonderful there. Lowe and Manis. I'm screwing up names. I apologize. Hey, look, he couldn't be more spot on. McHenry was absolutely right. There was a culture. We had a presence about us. It changed there, I believe, in 2012. Guys retired, and we were around really talented individuals, and other guys around those individuals had a duty to continue to keep stepping their game up. You had greatness with McCutchen, with Pedro, with Neil, these guys that were really embedded in this organization. Just out of this world, amazing individuals. We had a really good core. We had some unbelievable arms. I believe one couple years, our arms were all like a sub-3. I mean, it was like we were a joke. So obviously we were very pitcher first dominant. I think this lineup has nothing but opportunity. It's up. I think it's just up to them. The good news is I tell a lot of Pittsburgh fans I still talk to, you guys have, I think, everything you need. That is the truth. Like everything that you could wish on a Christmas list, you asked for, you got, right? So now it's just trying to create an environment to win. And how is our preparation doing that? So, like those components now are super important. Obviously, the good teams, the good leadership, they know how to kind of get these things right. But that's what I see. This Connor Griffin kid's special, and he wants to be. That's what you can see it in this kid where he wants it. He wants to be the best.
Yeah.
and that doesn't scare him. When you told me that used to scare me. And whether we want to admit it or not, I was one of the most cocky, arrogant, but I was also, there was a moment where a lot of guys missed that boat. So when you
Yep.
see his eyes, man, he is locked in. This kid is ready. Do I want him to start out in the show? I don't know. I'm not a GM. I'm not that connected in the game. I don't know the at bats he needs. I don't know. From a fan, what I see, phenomenal talent. I also know he doesn't really have too much AAA time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if like they see something different, which is totally accurate, where it's like, no, this kid's ready. This is going to be a waste of time sending him down there, which happens a lot. So really, you got to trust the guys that are around him, that are developing him. I trust that staff tremendously. Matt Haig was a phenomenal hitter. He was a very smart, had a great plan. Me and him, actually, that was one of my strategic allies where, we were constantly bantering on the bench, trying to formulate ways to get a pitcher, to get a hit. And we were really good about that. You can check tape, like the football Washington coaches go check tape. We were real. We had a couple good runs down there in the minors where me and Matt were deadly 3-4, 2-3, you name it. So they got good leadership. I expect good things.
I think it's interesting too, because I think it's going to depend on, how does Pittsburgh play in, I would say, maybe about the 6 to 80 game slate, where they're at. And then they'll see, do we honestly make that decision to get Connor in here, get some at-bats, try to get experience along the way? Because we've seen some guys. They came up, got some experience, sent down, got more at-bats, and then when they were ready, because to me, I feel like that's the finding your niche type deal, is because you got it, now you go and work on it, and then by the time you get called up, these guys are hitting like 300 plus. These guys are feeling confident. They're seeing the ball differently. So, I think I'm excited if I'm a Pittsburgh fan seeing this, but it's going to take a lot.
And you want a team around him. I think you have that now. You don't want to call a kid up where he's the only guy. I think now there's time where it's like, no, this kid will have a nice little pad, like a little landing pad, right? Like he might have some wiggle room. Guess one thing, no offense, Connor, we don't need you to be the guy. If all our other guys are not doing the job and you have pressure to be the guy, that's a problem. That's a problem. That means my guys aren't doing the job. That's the truth. I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be a slow ease into the thing and not so much of a throw into the wolves and better hope that we have a better season. So I think this is interesting. I have called this team the Sacramento A's of Las Vegas because to me, I have my personal thoughts about, the ownership. But I got to tell you, though, Andrew, is Nick Kurtz, Jacob Wilson, a lot of these youngsters, Shea Langoliers, this A's team looks scrappy. In my opinion, I mean, I've been a born and bred Las Vegas Nevadan for years before moving to Colorado 2 years ago. And to me, this is what we stand upon. We want to be scrappy and we want to be competitive. We don't have any room for excuses and not to mention underperformance. I mean, you look at right now, the Raiders are trying to find their niche, and I think they are in a better direction. But you've got the 2-time Stanley Cup appearance, 1 time winning it with the Golden Knights, and then the WNBA championship team 3 times, where now you got the A's that are going to be coming here into Las Vegas. How do you see this atmosphere playing out? You've been in Oakland. You've seen how the diehard fans have, really gave their time being there in the Coliseum. I hope that they have a historic landmark that gives respect to the fans of Oakland before building a new era in Las Vegas. What do you make of how the A's are going to go? Because to me personally, I think the money revenue will go up substantially because thank you, Dodgers. Thank you, San Francisco and Silicon Valley. But the other thing is, I got to know a bunch of people that I've grown up with in Vegas. Bryce Harper, Chris Bryant, Joey Gallo. Do you potentially make a move to where, hey, we got a team in Vegas. Let's put it all together. Like, what do you think this atmosphere will look like for the A's?
The A's, this is tough for me, right? Because I actually suffered I had a tumor. I was going, I was diagnosed in 2016. I make the team, then I get diagnosed. One thing's for sure with the A's, they did not have to continue to keep me on the 40-man. They did one better. They actually put me on the 25-man for the rest of the year. So I was able to collect benefits, health insurance, like just kind of like the most golden elite move you could possibly ever do. So, you know, I always tell people this. I go, please understand, this is who you're talking about, right? There are some really good people there. The higher ups demanded that. And here's how you also know there's good people there. Bro, they don't miss with talent, man. They don't miss with talent. Whoever is in there, I am telling you right now, they don't miss. Like every one of them is a dude. And you at some point you go, you guys have a good brain trust. We see that. I think we see the future. They're explaining to us on what they're wanting to do. I think when someone's willing to sit down and say, here's our business plan, and if it makes sense, me being in the business world, surface level, I'm going to take that for full value, right? Like full face. I'm going to sit there and go, okay, that legitimately sounds like a plan. You know, they're not giving us the ring around, the run around. That's a real concrete plan there. You know, people don't know this. That TV deal really hurt a lot of business owners. And that was really detrimental to them. When that went through, you can literally put a measurable timeline on when that TV deal failed. You saw teams go from spending to not spending. Okay. Now, do I think that we all need to, you know, sit down, have a good, I don't know the internal stuff. You know, I'm coming from a fan. I love this thing. Of course I want to see them see this through. You know, I think it's super important. Do I want a salary cap? Do I want a floor? Really, I want what's best for both sides, you know, and I think there is a deal out there that can accommodate that. Here's what scares me about that. I just talked about how the A's they give us a plan. When you are hearing updates right now on that topic on both sides, it is scary because they are preparing for like the apocalypse. And you're like, you know, I asked you a question and you told me that you have a surplus of like $4 trillion tucked away. For what? What are we building? A dam? Well, you guys are going to go away for a year? Oh, come on. You know, like, please, we don't want to hear about your nuclear bomb-proof plan. Like, you know, that's not what we want to hear as far as like coming to an agreement. So
facts.
You know, what I will say is I again, like I want both sides. I think we can find an agreement. It is scary because that's all you're hearing right now from the both sides on that topic, you know? So it's alarming because it's like the commissioner, same thing, you know, he's like subtly talking about expansion. That's amazing, but it doesn't seem like you're telling the players that. And so I'll be honest with you. There's a real deal that could be made where we are getting sponsorships. We can really, really turn this thing. We're popular. We're huge. We blow every sport out of the water. Get out of here. You know, we finally have the motivation to want to go global here. Everything's great, man. I think we just need to keep that positivity. Somebody's got to go in there and sell this thing where it's like, guys, look at this big picture. There's such a global outcome. I don't see how it can't benefit all 30 owners. Sorry absolutely. To kind of muddle. You know, I muddled.
No, I love it. I love it because honestly, I was about to ask you with the salary cap, and you answered the question that I had up there for you. If I could honestly make a big pitch, here's my big thing. Can we go back to Fox Sports Radio, like all of it, like what we used to have years ago? Because this going left and right stuff, like, look, we don't need to do that. Just go on a major network And get rid of the damn blackouts, California, please, because this is ridiculous. I want to see my team playing. Andrew, so good chopping it up with you, man. Loved your insights up on here. Take care of yourself and go Team USA. We got a chance to win this for the second time. I'm excited for this. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you, Jake. It's a pleasure being on.
Absolutely. There you go. Look at that. So energetic and hype, man. I love every bit of this thing. Listen, so we just saw Jaylen Waddle go to, Denver. And here's the other thing that people aren't talking about as well as we close up and onto the show is the Philadelphia Eagles made a move. And this is all surrounding about what we're going to do about A.J. Brown. A lot of people think, A.J., he is not going to be up and on the move. Yeah. But here's the thing. You got Devontae Smith. Okay, he's a very good wide receiver and big-time prospect out of Alabama. And now you have Hollywood Brown, who you signed on a one-year deal. This is more of a prove-it deal because, to me, they were trying to utilize Jahan Dotson for the big plays. And now I think you're going to get a guy who can solidify the big plays for Jalen Hurts. And to me, Hollywood Brown, he's been dealing with injuries. He's been dealing with, not quite as focused up and on the offense. But with A.J. Brown, ask yourself this. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you get rid of A.J. Brown because ultimately he wants more targets, he's a bigger play receiver, you can obviously, trust him on the outside hash marks, are you going to be okay with letting that go? And you got a big player. Now you got a big play receiver, which hopefully in a healthy season, he's great. He's good to go. But does this make you the same offense? I would make the argument that all you're doing is running the ball with Saquon Barkley, having dual tight end sets, of ferocious defense, and the rest of it you can figure out later. Or maybe you go and draft a receiver. Because to me, think about the last time when the Eagles drafted a receiver. It was Devontae Smith, because they drafted Jalen Reagor. That didn't work. And they whiffed on Justin Jefferson and multiple other receivers. I don't know if he potentially becomes on the move, but I will guarantee you this, that if after this signing and what they're trying to shape up onto the wide receiving core, that's going to be interesting to watch. Because to me, there are a couple teams who are keeping their tabs on A.J. Brown. But if this is true, and if this is honestly a message being sent that maybe A.J. Brown might not be with Philadelphia, keep your tabs on it. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm saying it's possible. We're in a land of possibilities, and I think with A.J. Brown, you're going to have a completely different offense. But whether that's good or whether that's bad. All righty, folks, we're getting out of here. Thank you so much for joining us here up and onto the show. Next week, we'll have different times here for you. Stay tuned for that. We got to get out of here. Take care and enjoy. Go Team USA in the World Baseball Classic finale. Hopefully we go and get gold medal here tonight. Take care, everyone.